forgiveness is selfish. You do it for you. You don't do it for them. That person that you're mad at, they probably don't even know you're mad at. They're conducting their life. They're going to work. They're going out to dinner. They're having a great time. And you're sitting in your apartment eating a gallon of ice cream, completely upset by it.
This is By Joyan Season 2. I'm your host, Joyan Chan, and every Wednesday we bring you inspiring stories, powerful message, and fun conversations with me and my special guests and friends, and it's my personal mission to empower you to live and lead a life with joy. This podcast is for you if you're looking for more joy, courage, passion, and purpose in your life. Now let's dive into today's episode and get ready to laugh, learn, and live your life to the fullest. Joining us today is the three-time award-winning best-selling author, international speaker, practical forgiveness educator, and transformation mentor. She's the author of 16 books, including the book The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, Unlocking Your Power. Through a practical forgiveness process, she helps people put down the emotional weight they have been carrying for years so they can move forward lighter, freer, and at peace. So she's here today to share why forgiveness isn't about the other present. It's about getting them out of your head. So ladies and gentlemen, help me welcoming Katharine Giovanni. Katharine, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So I would like to start with your backstory and what inspired you to do the work that you are doing today. So based on my research, you have overcome childhood trauma, breast cancer, and decades of personal challenges. Was there a specific moment that inspired you to pursue the work that you do today?
Well, the fact that I call myself a forgiveness educator probably implies that I've had a lot of people, places, and things to forgive in my life. But the one moment that I think was the spark plug, if you will, that sparked the entire thing was when my mother died. And she died in 1990. And I had quit drinking at that point. I've been sober for 35 years. But when she died, I went into this dark funk for about a year. And I realized that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I was angry. And I was angry at, everything. I was angry at the way I was raised. I was angry at my life. I had one friend, and I went to work and home, work, home, grocery store. That was my life for a very long time. And I finally thought, if I don't change, I'm going to die just like my mother did. So, and she died of cancer, but I just thought I'm going to die, and I knew it within a shadow of doubt. So I changed on a dime, and I started to forgive people. And I didn't have the system back then, 30 years ago, that I use today. But I noticed that once I really forgave people, my life improved. I got a better job. I started to lose weight. I started to feel better. I stopped getting all the cold and flu germs that came around. And I started to date, and life started to open up for me. And it was all because I started to forgive people, and I wasn't carrying that anger around anymore.
I'm not sure whether this is too personal to ask, but who was the first person that you had to forgive?
Then now you're taking me back. The first person I probably had to start forgiveness with was my father, to be honest.
Right.
And I also had to forgive my mother for dying. Because yes, she had cancer. Yes, it was probably a blessing. We can all justify somebody who's got terminal cancer. But at the same time, she got sober 3 years before she died. I only had 3 sober years with her, and she was my best friend at the time. So when she died, it was like pulling the rug out from underneath my feet, and I literally had to forgive her for dying so I could move on.
Right. So your core message is you don't want to forgive them, but you want them out of your head.
Right.
I find that very interesting. So what led you to reframe forgiveness in that way?
That's what everybody wants. I have so many people that come up to me and says, I don't want to forgive them. I just want them out of my head, which is fair Because every one of your listeners right now, 10 out of 10 people, you're all thinking of your unforgivable person. That's that's where everybody's head goes. You go to that one person or event that completely wrecked your world. And that's fair. That's why nobody wants to forgive. And a few other principles. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean I want a relationship with you. It's another reason why people don't want to forgive, because they think if I forgive you, okay, now I have to bring you back into my life. No, you don't. There's still a dumpster fire, and they're still wrong. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean you were right and I was wrong. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean I want you back in my life. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean I have to change my life back. If forgiveness is selfish. You do it for you. You don't do it for them. They don't even deserve your forgiveness. Hello. You do it for you. And the system I have developed helps you get these people out of your head. Because let's face it, your mother, your father, your teachers, your minister, they all tell you to forgive. Okay, how? Give me the
Yeah.
steps. Nobody does. And then what if I don't want to forgive? Then what do I do? Well, you just keep at it. Okay, well, that's never worked for me. I need steps. And they said, well, once you forgive, you'll forget. I'm from New York City originally. I live in the South, and I can guarantee you, without a shadow of a doubt, I'm speaking for everybody in New York City, we don't forget anything. So you're not going to forget what happened, but it will change your perspective. I can look back at my childhood now and I see I tried to commit suicide in the 8th grade because I was getting bullied and my parents were getting a divorce, and I can look back at that childhood and I could see the adults that were trying to help that kid. I could see the love that was actually back there. I couldn't see that before. But now that I've forgiven everybody in my past, I can. There's no emotional charge there anymore.
Right. So, what are some of the signs that a person is still emotionally carrying past hurt or anger, even if even if they believe they have moved on, but they're still carrying it for years? So, what are some of the signs?
If you go on the social media and you see the person who I would call on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being unforgivable and 1 being easy, and you see your number 10 unforgivable person, what happens? Do I have to peel you off the top of the ceiling for the next couple days and come home and talk you down? Do you immediately, your brain gets triggered and immediately you're back where you were? There's an emotional reaction. You see them at a party, your brain completely pings. You go into a bakery, you smell an apple pie, you get triggered because your grandmother used to make apple pies and she's one of the people you need to forgive. So you get triggered virtually immediately. If I go in and I smell the apple pie, I don't get triggered anymore. It doesn't even cross my mind.
Yeah, when there is no emotion, it means you have moved on.
Yeah,
Like, right? I mean, that makes sense. So, for someone who says, I want to forgive, but I don't know how exactly, right? Like you yourself said that to whoever told you to forgive. What is the system that you have developed in order to help people to forgive and truly forgive?
absolutely. I'll give you the entire system. Um, the first thing is science. I'm gonna have to throw a little science at you. Science has proven without a shadow of a doubt that everything on our planet has an energy around it, including this little silver microphone I'm speaking into has an energy field around it. I get people coming to me all the time that say, Catherine, I have forgiven. I did the work, but I keep getting triggered. That's because you didn't forgive the energy around the person. Stay with me. So I want you to sit down in a room. I really want no humans with you. You can have the dog if you want, but I really want you all alone or outside. I don't care. Just I want you alone. And then I want you to get a pad of paper and a pen or your phone. I really don't care. And I want you to write down all the people you think you need to forgive. Your first 5 people are going to be the people you label an 8, 9, 10. They're going to be the worst of the worst. Everybody does it. I wrote 50 people down, and the first 5 were people that had really hurt me. Keep going. Think about when you were a kid. Think about your best friend from high school and they stained your sweater and now you've never talked to them. Think about the person that cut you off in traffic yesterday. Think about the person who you had, were in the grocery store and they kind of cut you off on aisle 4 and you're kind of irritated. Those are the easy ones. I want you to think of everybody. My list literally was 50 people. Then I want you to take that list and I want you to rate all the people from 1 to 10. 1 being easy, 10 being a dumpster fire. Okay. Now you could have 20 number 7s. I really don't care. You could also skip numbers. Also don't care. But what I do care about is you start with the easy ones and you work your way up to the unforgivable. And I'm going to teach you how to forgive the unforgivable as well. So you start with the first one. We'll use me as I'll use myself as a guinea pig. It was a woman I went to high school with, and we were best friends. And I have no idea why we were mad. It's I'm in my 60s now, so we're going back to, we're not going to say turn of the century. I feel like I need a covered wagon at that point. It's awful. Dinosaurs were roaming when we were kids, right? But I couldn't remember. So I thought, this is easy. So I sat in the middle of my bed. I want you alone in a room. And it doesn't matter where the person is or isn't, because you don't have to tell them you're forgiving them. You do it in the privacy of your own home. Nobody has to know. Nobody, including the person you're forgiving. That being said, you can forgive dead people, because where they are or not doesn't matter a lick. And if they died and you still have anger with this person and you still need closure with this person, put them on the list. Doesn't matter where they are. So I want you to imagine that the person is standing right in front of you. In my case, not the adult that she was today. I wanted you to see the kid from the past, because that's the person you had the problem with. You had problem with the kid. Now, if you can't imagine the person in front of you, not everybody can. I'm clairaudient and clairvoyant, so it's easy for me. But if you can't, put a chair in front of you, talk to the chair. Some people even put the person's picture on the chair if you need to, or their name, but talk to the chair. If you can't imagine it in your mind's eye, talk to a chair. Say anything you like. You're alone in a room. Cry, sing, dance. I don't care. Burn sage, whatever you want to do. You're alone in a room with this person. Once you've gotten it out, I want you to put your hand in your heart and I want you to say, I completely forgive Joyan. I forgive the energy around Joyan. Completely forgive myself. I forgive the energy around myself. I forgive the energy around the entire relationship. And so it is. Amen. Go with God. End it any way you like. Now check in with your body. Are you still angry? No? Okay, cross it out. Go to the next person on the list. Never do more than 5 per people a day. Was it a level 4 person and you're still kind of angry? Cross out the 4, put a 3, wait 24 hours, very important, do it again. And this happened to a friend of mine, and she was right in front of me at the time because I was leading her through this. And it was a level 4 person. She checked in with her body, shot up to a 10. Went the wrong way. What happened? Well, your brain is a beautiful instrument, and there's a closet in the back of your brain. And there's movies that play in it. You turn them off if you knew they were there, but you didn't know they were there. And what happened is she said the mantra. It was like a magic formula, and the door opened, and her brain says, ooh, Joyan's ready for these memories. And it flooded her with memories. And she got mad. So she crossed the person off from a number 4, put it to a 10, put it at the end of the list, because I want you to do the 10s very last, and went to the next person on the list. It's a system that will allow you to slowly and carefully forgive these people. And the more people you forgive, the better you're going to feel. But I'm very serious. Never, ever, ever start with the number 10s. You always start with the easy ones, because you're going to start to feel better as you work your way up the list.
And how often do we have to do these exercises? Because yeah, I don't know, maybe one time works, but maybe for some cases maybe you need, no, just one time magic.
No, this I wish this was a band-aid. I wish this was a magic pill that I would give everybody. If you rate people a 1, a 2, or a 3, forgiving them once and tossing them, you probably will be able to forgive. The ones, absolutely, you'll forgive once and boom, it'll be gone. But as you get further in the list, you get to the 6s and the 7s and you get to those 8s. This is a marathon. It is not a sprint. It took me months to forgive my father. And to forgive my father, I didn't even want to forgive my father. I didn't even want to forgive the energy around the man. That's how angry I was. So I picked apart the memory. And I'm serious about this, so stay with me. I picked a memory. Let's say it was Christmas.
Yeah.
And I picked it apart and I forgave the table we sat at, the energy around the table. Not kidding. I forgave the chair that I sat in, the energy around the chair. I forgave the food that was there, the energy around the food. I forgave the people around the table that didn't help me out and the energy around each person. I forgave the city. I forgave the date on the calendar. I forgave the building and the energy around the building, because all of these things hold energy. And by pulling apart that energy, now it's gone from a 10, maybe down to a 9.5. Am I still ready to forgive him? Absolutely not. I'm the only one on the planet that's going to look you dead in the eye and say, you don't have to forgive the unforgivable. There are people out there and instances that are completely and totally unforgivable and black.
Yeah.
But but you can forgive yourself, and you can pull apart the memory, and you can forgive the bed, the table, you could forgive the taxi that took you there, or the car that took you there. You could forgive the park, the bench, you could forgive the city. You could forgive yourself for getting in the car. There's so many parts of that memory that you can forgive, and that will allow you to get them out of your head so you can continue your life without thinking about them all the time. You could forgive people, places, and things, believe it or not, because it all has energy.
Right. That all sounds like a lot of work. I mean, that's at least to me. I'm sure for some of my listeners will be thinking, yeah, Katharine, I can do that, but it takes a lot of work. Like you said, in order to forgive your father, it takes months, and there's just one person that we have to forgive. We have a whole list of people that we need to. So it's like for me, right? I have the resistance because it is like as though I don't have time. Like I'm coming up with excuses not to forgive that person for whatever reason. But I just hear myself saying I don't have time for that. And so okay, I have two questions. One is, tell us, why is it so important to forgive even though we believe we have already moved on again, right? And the other question is there anything else other than the talking to that person? Other than that, what else can we do? Maybe something that doesn't require so much time. So that two questions that I need to clarify.
Okay, the first thing, if you're thinking of somebody, you don't have time to forgive them, they're a number 10, you don't have months to put in, and I mean this from my heart, then don't. That's why I want you to start with the easy ones and work your way up. Don't even think about the 8s, 9s, and 10s. Write them on your piece of paper, but don't even go there if you're a really busy person. I also want you to do this before bed. You don't have to talk to the person like I suggest. You could just say the mantra and move on to the next person. It takes maybe 10 seconds. I do it before bed. Now, why do you want to do this? There was a study done. It's called the Japanese Water Study. It's right on Google, front page. If you Google Japanese Water Study, I can't remember the dude's name. I always get it wrong. It's Masumoto, something like that. Anyways, what the guy did is he took 2 containers of water. One container of water, all he did was talk to it. That's all he did. And he said these beautiful things to this container. I love you. The most beautiful words he could think of, he said to this water. That's all he did. Then the other container of water, hate. The most horrible, hateful things you can say to a human being, he said to that water. He then froze the water, put it under a microscope. The water he spoke love to had these gorgeous, crystal looking formations. It's right online. The pictures are fascinating. The water he spoke hate to had these black, kind of moldy looking formations. It looked like it was eating itself. Why am I telling you this? The human body is over 95% water. So if your self talk is bad, if you're filled with bitterness and you're filled with regret and you're filled with anger, what do you think you're doing to the water cells within your own body? Now, that being said, the reason I want you to do this before bed or within eye shot, sometime, within a couple hours of bed, is because when you forgive, the law of forgiveness is very much like the law of gravity. The law of gravity is going to work whether you believe in it or not. We can call the law of gravity the law of keeping Katharine on the planet. It doesn't care. Still going to work. Well, I don't believe in the law of gravity. It doesn't care. It's still going to work. The law of forgiveness is the same thing. You make that first pass, you're not going to feel any different. Oh, honey, it did work without a doubt. And it's already started to change the water cells within your own body. Those water cells have to go somewhere. So I do my own exercises. I really did have a list of 50 people, and I'm a slight overachiever. Shocker after 16 books, right? And nobody's shocked by that. And I looked at that list and I thought, this is going to be great. I'm going to be like a phoenix rising from the ashes. I'm going to blow through this entire list all at once, and I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and I'm going to be a brand new person, and I could get it one and done. Didn't work out the way I wanted it to. I did forgive many people on the list, but I also spent the next 3 days in bed with what everybody thought was a stomach flu. It was not the stomach flu. It was those water cells that have to go somewhere, and my body just needed a few days to catch up, right? So when you do this work, you will be sleepy. You do 5 people a night, no more than that. It's probably better than a sleeping pill because it's going to make you tired. Some people, if you get up into the higher numbers, you might be in the bathroom a little bit. Please don't be worried about it. It's just your body clearing itself out. But that's why I only want you to do 5 a night. And if you're doing one of those 8s, 9s, or 10s, 1 a night, and that's it. Do as I say, not as I did. Don't make yourself sick. This is a powerful thing. I mean, it's very powerful.
Yeah, I can tell. I'm sure it's very powerful, and this is why you have helped so many people. And I guess the reason why like I have the resistance because I feel overwhelmed like with so many things that like this is just the first step. The first step is to write down all the people that you have to forgive, and that's it, right? That's for today, and maybe next day or next week, then you start working with the first person, right, at the lowest level according to what you said.
Instead of writing down 50 names like I did, write down 3.
Okay.
Easy ones. Write down the person that cut you off in traffic yesterday. Write down the person who stained your sweater in grammar school. Write down 3 super, super easy things you can forgive. Start with that. Do it before bed. You don't have to talk to these people because they're super easy. Say the mantra. Forgive the person, the energy around the person, forgive yourself. And usually you're one of the people, you're probably your own number 10. We all are, right? We've all done things that we don't like. But I want you to just do those 3 people. That's it. So you can make this as complicated and deep as you want, or you can make it really simple. And every night you think of 3 people, and you don't even have to write it down. Whatever 3 people come to your mind, forgive them. The person you're thinking of right now, forgive that person. Whatever comes to your mind, trust that little bird in your shoulder. It's not going to steal you wrong. Your intuition will tell you who you should forgive and where you should start. Trust the names that appear in your mind.
If the person is still alive, the person that we have to forgive, right? Is it more powerful to forgive them or tell them like face to face if that's possible? Or it doesn't change anything?
You can if you like, but this is not like AA. You don't have to make amends. You don't have to talk to the person. I have forgiven. Now, most of my family, granted, has passed away, but I do still have a few that are alive and well. And do they know I've forgiven them? No, they don't. Do I want to go out and have coffee with them and talk to them every day? No, I don't. I have boundaries in place with these people. One of them's a narcissist. I don't want to talk. So, do you have to say it to their face? No. If you want to, and it's like your mother and you want to rekindle a relationship, okay, maybe. But I would suggest forgiving her first and then going out and having that conversation.
Yeah.
Because you'll do it from a place of peace and love and not anger. So it'll be a different conversation.
Mm.
And wait until the emotional charge has lowered a little bit, and then go out and have that conversation with your mom. But if you never want to talk to her again, that's fine. This forgiveness is selfish. You do it for you. You don't do it for them. That person that you're mad at, they probably don't even know you're mad at. They're conducting their life. They're going to work. They're going out to dinner. They're having a great time, and you're sitting in your apartment eating a gallon of ice cream, completely upset by it. There's a great quote by Buddha. Make sure I get it right. Sometimes I get it backwards. Drinking poison, anger is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies.
Yeah, I heard that quote.
It's one of my favorites because it's very visual, because that's what anger does, and it's really the only person it's hurting is you. Now, that being said, how do you know you've forgiven somebody? No emotional charge. You can see them at a party, or you can look at them and there's no emotional charge there. You've forgiven them. But let me be clear. I have forgiven people, and then you have to meet them, or they call you up on the phone and you get mad again. Why? Because we're human. Humans irritate other humans, and you think, I'm angry again. I thought I tossed this person. Well, you did toss that person, but they're not going to go up to a number 10 again. They'll probably go up to a 3. You're going to hang up the phone. You're going to notice that you're angry at this person. You'll make a couple passes with the mantra before you go to bed, and you'll be able to toss them very easily within either that night or within a few days. So you're never going to get as angry. Will they make you angry again? Probably. We're humans. It's what we do. So, and if they're not going to change, you will.
You have worked with so many people, and I'm sure we all. I mean, I'm sure we should put ourselves on the list as well. The people that we need to forgive
Mm-hmm.
is ourselves, right? And we carry all the shame, all
Yes.
the guilt, all the negative self-talk, like I said. So, but why is it so hard to forgive ourselves than to forgive someone else?
We are the hardest person to forgive because we can't our brains just keep replaying that tape in your mind, and hindsight is 2020, and you start saying, I should have done this, I should have done that. Well, give yourself a break. There's a I would You can forgive yourself, and this is really good for paramedics or people who have been in the military who have PTSD and they can't forgive themselves for doing something or not being able to save somebody. I want you to do the same thing. I want you to make a second list. This list is everybody that needs to forgive you, and you write that list, and it could be people, it could be places, it could be events. You write it all down on a piece of paper. You rate them from 1 to 10. You start from the ones and you work your way up to the tens. And the tens, again, you won't be able to forgive yourself for not being able to save that kid in the ambulance that died on their way to the hospital. But you can forgive the memory. You can forgive the ambulance. You can forgive the tires. You can forgive the gurney. You can forgive the person driving who didn't drive fast enough. You can forgive the kid for dying. You can forgive the person who hit the kid that put him in that position because it was a car accident. So many things within that memory you can forgive. And if you could never forgive yourself, just like you could never forgive your number 10, that's fine. That's fine, because you've pulled apart enough of the memory that you're probably not going to relive it over and over and over again. Now, will that energy subside after the first pass? Maybe, maybe not. It depends how traumatic it was. You might have to do it a bunch of times. It might take you a couple weeks if we're talking about something really horrific. But it is possible to forgive yourself. But just start with the easy ones and work your way up. Always start with the easy ones, because the more you forgive, you're going to start to feel better. You're not going to get as sick as anymore. You're going to start noticing that dream career. Why didn't you notice it before? Because you weren't paying attention. Let me give you a visual real quick,
Sure.
because I know time. And I know people are listening to this podcast, and I'm about to hold a purple coffee cup in front of my face. This cup represents anger. Now, look, when I'm first angry, look at my body language. I'm holding it off to the side. Real easy. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can control my anger. Of course I can, because I have it on the side of my body. I put it in a little box in my head. Easy stuff. But humans irritate other humans. And the more I'm going to keep getting angry. So if I don't let stuff out of the cup, I'm going to keep putting more anger in the cup, and it's going to start to get heavy. So now I need two hands to hold up the cup, still off to the side, but now it's getting heavier. It's starting to come into my conversation. If I still don't let go of any of the anger in this cup, eventually I'm going to put it in front of my face. I can't even see you anymore. I can't, I'm missing opportunities. The dream person who I might marry just walked by and I didn't see them. Why? Because I'm so focused on the anger. It's all I can think about. It's all I can talk about. I'm losing friends because it's all I'm talking about. I'm literally wearing it like a badge of honor and all the crap that had happened to me. And I'm missing a dream career, that perfect apartment I wanted. I missed it because I'm not paying attention. So when you forgive the easy people, now look at the cup. I've taken some stuff out of the cup. I'm holding it off to the side again. That number 10 is still in this cup, but look at my body language. My life has opened up. And if you can manage to finally forgive your number 10s or at least get them down to a reasonable level, now look at my body language. I put the cup down and I have both hands free. Now look at my life. Now I can pay attention to all of it. That's what forgiveness does.
Wow, quite an analogy. I mean, thanks for that. So I know you are also an intuitive and transformation mentor,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure this is not just what you do to help people forgive, and So what else do you help? What does it look like to work with you, and what would that achieve by working with you?
I am really intuitive. I am clairaudient, which means I hear words and guidance in my mind. I'm clairvoyant, which means I see it. And I'm also claircognizant, which means that I actually can, the information just arrives when I need it. And I've been this way since I was a kid, hence why I was bullied so much. I also have this knack for seeing people's past lives. That energy we were talking about,
Yeah.
when you get angry, everybody nobody thinks this. I'm the only one that thinks this. I am the only one. But most people assume it leaves your mouth and it dissipates within the universe. The emotions just dissipates into the ether. It does not. It hangs around your energy field. So the more angry you get, the darker your energy field. And it's even more insidious than that, because when you die, those traumatic events that are in your energy field follow you to the next life, right? So if you are scared of heights, you might have been thrown off a cliff in your last life. If you are scared, if you're having trouble sleeping, something might have happened in your sleep. Let me give you an example. I had a client call me up and it was 7:30 in the morning. I usually don't answer the phone at 7:30 in the morning. I let it go to voicemail, but I heard in my mind's eye, answer the phone. And I've learned to trust that little bird on my shoulder, which is a book I wrote, because of course I did. And I answered the phone and it was a client of mine. He was in tears. It was a guy. Tears, not little tears, the big heaving, I am in a completely traumatic state kind of tears. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't sleep. And he was a cop. And he couldn't sleep. And you're a cop, you need to get your sleep, obviously. But he couldn't sleep and he had insomnia. He tried medicine, he called the doctor, he went to a psychiatrist, he tried the sleep tapes and the white noise, nothing. So he finally called me up and he said, Catherine, I'll do anything you want me to at this point. I don't care what you tell me. And all of a sudden, I got this vision in my head. It was like a movie playing within my mind. And I saw him, this sheriff, lying in bed with his wife. And I got the sense that he was a beloved sheriff in this small town. And I watched as his wife smothered with him with a pillow and killed him. So when I came out of the vision, I told the young man this, and he said, I have trouble dating women. And I said, of course you do. One of them killed you in your sleep. I wouldn't want to date either. That trauma followed him into this lifetime. So we picked apart that lifetime with my forgiveness system. And he forgave the bed, and he forgave his wife, and he forgave all of this stuff. Then he forgave himself, and he forgave her. And after that session, he started to sleep through the night and he started to date again. So sometimes if you have gone through everything and you've got a medical keep going to the doctor, keep doing what the doctors tell you. but sometimes there's a higher reason why you're having trouble. Don't stop taking your medicine because something I said. No, keep taking your medicine. But sometimes there's a higher reason why you don't want to speak out in public. Well, maybe because you were hit every time you spoke out loud. There might be a reason why you've got these phobias. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I believe that's true because, like you said earlier, right? Everything has energy. Everything is energy, and the whole universe, the entire universe, the space that we are, the air, everything is energy. So frequency as well.
Yeah.
I love this stuff. I'm all about spirituality. Law of attraction. I love talking about it. But is there anything that you really want to talk about? Perhaps I didn't ask you and didn't let you.
I think I just want women, especially, and I don't know why women have this problem, but they do, and they have this little worthy problem. I am not worthy type of thing, and it's, I think, our society, because we're a patriarchy and women are kind of beaten down over the years. But I want every woman listening to know that you are worthy. That's your birthright. You are allowed to lead a life of love and prosperity and peace. It is your birthright. You are worthy to be on this planet. You are worthy to have your own career and do what you intuitively want to do. Think, you are worthy to have a life of love and peace. And don't let anybody talk you out of it. Everybody is worthy. And that's my message to all the women out there, just to know that there's a reason you're on the planet, and we're glad that you're here.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that beautiful piece of message. Katharine, now tell my people if they want to work with you, buy your book, or just connect with you, where is the best place to connect with you?
Just go to my website. It's KatharineGiovanni.com. And thanks to my mother, my first name is spelled very odd. It's Katharine Giovanni.com. Yeah, she was great. I went into ChatGPT and I asked it because I was curious how many forms of Katharine there were. And it told me there were 36 and mine was the rarest. And I thought, of course it was the rarest. But, of course, why wouldn't it be?
Because you are unique. I mean, you're born with this gift, and you had a special gift. That's why your name is special.
Thanks,
because
Mom.
You're special. You're welcome. All right. Thank you so much again for your time today. Now, guys, for those of you listening, I hope this conversation with Katharine met you exactly where you are today. Now, be sure to connect with her and explore her work. Go get her book, all 16 books, I'm telling you, and I will leave all her details in the show notes below. And thanks for listening, and I wish you all a joyful and amazing day ahead. Thank you again for tuning into Find Joy Joyan podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, take a screenshot and share it on your IG story and tag FindJoyJoyan_podcast so I know you are listening. And leave us a positive review on Apple Podcasts if you haven't already done so. And remember to hit the subscribe button whether you are listening on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, or any of your other favorite platforms. If you love what we are doing and want to become one of our sponsors, you can send me a DM to connect. And thanks for being here. I will see you soon in the next episode.